So for Chapter 6 in business law, we look at the tort law and sort of the different things that kind of involve that. So basically, tort is a wrongful act, civil wrong, infringement, not of like a breach of contract or anything like that, but stuff along those lines that would result in someone being held liable. There are two different types of torts. You have your intentional torts and your unintentional torts. So basically, intentional means you had purpose behind it. There was intent to commit that act. Unintentional would be through something like negligence, where it was on accident. You didn't mean to commit that act. However, even though it was accidental, somebody has to be held responsible. So basically, there are different types of relief for torts, and it depends on sort of what tort was committed, which wrongful act was actually committed. So basically, there's compensatory. Basically, this is just reimbursing the person for any losses, things like that. You can break that further down into two more groups. So that person who suffered that tort, from that tort, the victim or whatever, you could break it down into special or general. So special would be something along the lines of medical expenses and benefits, or even like lost wages that have occurred. Then there's general, which is non-monetary aspects, such as pain, suffering, or even things like someone's reputation being hurt. So those are different types of relief for people. There are punitive relief, a thing where basically this is mainly for businesses because you can't put them in jail or anything like that, so you make them pay heavy punitive damages. This is to try and stop them from doing something similar in the future or something else in the future. So that's a big thing for that, because you can't put a corporation in jail. So for part 2, explain, describe different situations. So intentional torts against people. So basically, intentional tort, there was purpose behind it. So let's say that you had a disagreement with a friend and they just pissed you off, and you just decided to punch them square in the face and break their nose. This would be an intentional tort. There was intent to hurt them because you guys disagreed on something, so you did it on purpose. That would be an example of an intentional tort. Another one could be, other than the assault and battery, that's basically what that is. The assault is the talking part, and then the battery is going through with it and actually punching them. There's false imprisonment, and then there's also sort of defamation, which is basically trying to hurt someone's reputation on purpose for whatever reason. There are ways around these sorts of things. So for defamation, something like instead of putting it out as a statement to try and hurt someone's feelings, hurt someone's reputation, you use something like "I think," or use a question mark, or "my opinion," because statements of opinion are protected. For the battery aspect, something like self-defense. If you felt that you were being threatened, or you or someone else was going to be hurt, then self-defense could be a way out of that. Wrongful interference with B, intentional torts against property. So this would be something you're purposefully damaging someone's property, or even something less of that, like trespassing. Trespassing is something that would fall under this. If you go onto someone's property without their permission, that can be classified under that. you could cause damages to their property. Um, you purposefully wreck someone's equipment or something like that. That would be intentional torts against someone's property, and you could be held liable for that. Next, you have wrongful interference with a contractual relationship. So basically, this is when a third party is involved. Someone has an agreement with someone else, but you come in and you try to persuade them to go against that contract and make deals with you. That would be very illegal because they're still under contract with that other corporation. So that would be something, a wrongful interference with that. Basically, you can be held liable for that, and you have to basically obey the law and wait for their contract to be done. Because trying to get someone else to do something that they're not supposed to would be classified under this. Then there's unintentional torts, which would be negligence. Basically, this is doing something knowing the risk of what could potentially happen. Basically, for this, you realize the risk, but you fail to take the necessary precautions or make the right choice in order to avoid this. So something like driving recklessly, and getting in a car accident and killing somebody, or hurting somebody, or ruining their car, because that could be damage to property because they own the car, or it could be a tort against a person when you hurt them, or if you kill them. So basically, driving recklessly, you don't mean to do any of that stuff. You don't mean to get in a car accident and hurt somebody, but you take that risk of driving recklessly and you end up doing that. So it's unintentional. However, you have to be held responsible because you know that you were taking that risk. Another thing would be sports games. For sports games, you know the risk of getting hit by flying objects. So if you can't come up with like an actual reason or find someone to actually blame, then who are you going to sue? You can't. So that's basically what that is. That's basically negligence and an unintentional tort. What is the concept of duty of care? So basically, the duty of care is basically everyone has a legal obligation to take steps to try and stop or prevent any foreseeable harm to people or property. That's basically what duty of care is. Where did it go? So basically, when duty of care and breach, something like that occurs, courts consider different factors, such as nature of the act, the manner in which the act was performed, and the nature of the injury. So basically, that's what the duty of care is, and the sort of things that kind of get looked at when stuff like that occurs.